Sunshine's Corner, brought to you by Pensacola Parks and Recreation.
It is Friday, hands in the air. Look, it's a beautiful day on the outside. It's Friday. We're getting ready for the weekend. A lot to go that's going to be going on right here in the city of Pensacola. But let me tell you this, as I always do every single day, you're in the right place. You stepped into the hottest spot there is in Pensacola. This is the area where you can talk about the difficult things and know that you're safe right here at Sunshine's Corner. And today is no different. I've got guests today. Of course, you know I got my sidekick with me. Now, she's always with me there. Now, Nicole is going to be with me every Friday. They got, hey. But we've got one young man that I have been following for quite some time. When I met him several years ago, Jonathan Green, and I tell you, Jonathan, thank you for getting up, coming in, because I just love your knowledge. I just love how you are such a activist. I just love everything that you do, and then we're going to share a lot of things today that we're going to talk about. And first of all, you know, this is somewhat off screen, but I want to bring this up first of all. I hope you are ready for this. Mm-hmm. Do you know where I'm going? Did anybody see the trial yesterday?
The trial results.
The trial.
Yeah, the results. Yes.
Okay, did you see the verdict? Should I say that?
Yes.
And I mean, like, oh my God, I see smiles. I mean, but look, that was something else. And then I think it was for all 34. Mm-hmm. Was found guilty?
Yeah.
Isn't that something? But we knew that.
Yeah.
Okay, but Jonathan, I see your lips. You ready to say something?
To me, it's disappointing.
Okay.
That we have a former U.S. president.
I hear where you're going.
Who is now criminally liable for crime. Like, you committed a crime.
Right.
34 charges worth of crimes.
Right.
And you are guilty of them, and the world sees someone who is also a candidate for president.
Right.
Who still has the opportunity to be president.
Right.
That I think it actually helps his campaign, because
no, I said that.
There are people who want this nation to go into a spiral. Mm-hmm. But people who truly believe in democracy, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Conservative, liberal, anywhere, regardless of where you fall in freedom, that I can see him being in a state prison, winning presidency, relinquishing his acting duties as president, giving them to the vice president to act as the
really?
President, to then be pardoned and get out in no time.
Oh my goodness! Well,
this
Kathina,
this is going to help his campaign.
Oh wow! She's rubbing her hands. Come on, spit it out.
And I'm scared of that.
Well, now look, I hear you, because it is this is such a time as this. I've never seen this or heard of this in my lifetime. Never in my lifetime.
Yeah.
And it is disheartening.
Yeah.
And breaks my heart.
Yeah.
And I just hope to God that everybody just wake up.
Well, it's a double-edged sword, meaning that it's kind of like it has the remnants of the OJ trial, where it gives people a hope on the justice system and how it works, mm-hmm. And then on the other end, it's messy for the candidacy and for the election. So it's a double-edged sword. And when I say that, I'm saying that, like, you know, if that would have been a everyday person.
Oh God, they would have never gotten that far.
And it wouldn't be free.
They'd be locked up.
Look at the measures, though. Like, we went from, if you look, 1 out of 46 presidents have been anything other than white.
Right.
So looking at that percentage, and we go to someone who, in modern history, all the presidents have had their law degree. Right. So he's not held to, all lawyers have to abide by lawyer ethics.
Right.
He doesn't have to abide by those ethics, so the things that he does unethically, he has no one to hold him accountable for. So sitting in the highest office as commander-in-chief I think it makes the U.S. look laughable that we can have someone who is potentially incarcerated that ends up being the U.S. president again. And
right.
For me, that's it. And then also, no one's taking the fact that Donald Trump said if he does not win the election, it's going to be a bloodbath. Well, after January 6th,
oh, come on now, that's like always, I go back to that.
And there were marching orders and things occurred,
right.
Even if you saying my hands are off. We have to take that, some weight to that. There's somebody who's listening who may take that as another marching order.
Right.
And
It's
as
no
a
way
person
in
of
that.
color-
You're being very nice with your words. There's definitely going to be, yeah.
I see
You're
you
being
thinking
very,
about
you're
that.
you're very
I'm trying to
dancing
be,
around your words.
objective.
But it's I appreciate it. But at the same time, it is what it is. Though you have so many extreme people who understand that language. This is, and I only say that. And I mean, I would say this in a respectful way. I know you're just being nice, but it's just like, you know, we have to be prepared and really be honest about what's gonna happen.
Absolutely.
What is gonna happen? That is gonna happen.
But how do we prepare if you have factions trying to instigate a civil war,
Exactly.
and we have advocacy against Second Amendment rights, but Second Amendment rights are still in place, that people are not prepared, that if everybody is up in arms enforcing their Second Amendment right, how do we protect ourselves in a space where it could look like January 6th everywhere?
Oh my
I think
God.
but that's just where I'm saying, like, I appreciate your humility, I appreciate your optimism, but I think the first step is being honest and realistic about where we're gonna be. So as a person who does not believe in toting a gun, as a person who do not think I could shoot anyone, you know, I have to mentally start being prepared to
where we're headed.
what would that look like for a person like me?
That's
That's
why I asked
honest
that
conversation.
question. But
I love this conversation.
we're starting June tomorrow.
Exactly.
The election's in November. If
months.
if November to June is 5 months away, we don't have a plan that if everyone's up in arms and I'm still sitting here not toting and there's guns in my face and it looks like the police officers that died going into the Capitol.
Oh my God, I hear that.
What do I do?
Right.
Who protects me?
Right. And
I'm scared. Being honest, I'm like, the truth, I'm scared, and there's the president current sitting, there's no one talking about how do we protect the citizens if worst case scenario, and that scares me. Just, I have children, like, that scares me as a whole.
Right. I mean, I love this because I feel I'm afraid. And when I saw that yesterday, the question that was in my head is, how in God's heaven can anybody see that? Then all the people that were on the outside were saying, let him go, he's right. How can you do that when you've been found guilty by your own peers?
In a court system.
In the court system that's supposed to protect us. But yet and still, what also bothers me is this. How is it that you can still run for president, and then there's a possibility that you could win? Now, I had not looked at the scenario about going to jail, having the vice president take over, and then I'm pardoned so I get out and take over. But there are so many things that I want to say to the listening audience. Please, do the right thing. We've got to come together to do something, because we're talking, 5 months? 5 months. That's not a long time. We can't just sit here and say, if, as my mother used to say, if a frog had a sweet appetite, he wouldn't bust his butt. But we've got to come up with something that's going to be beneficial so that they can take the fee out of you, and we got to work quickly.
I think that I love history.
Of course.
And America has some ugly pieces to it, right? But the beautiful piece about all those ugly pieces, we've always seemed to get our mind right and come together on it in some shape, form, or fashion.
Right.
So that's what I'm praying for, that America does what it has always done. And it might go kicking and screaming. America might go kicking and screaming.
It could be more than that.
But in a larger, big picture, it always does. It always tries to do, as a country,
I want to take you back to
right.
when you said we were talking about January 6th, okay? That was also another point in my life that I thought I'd never see anything like that. But I want to turn the table around. If there had been, and yes, I'm going to say it loudly, if there had been people of color, you would have had a spread all over the ground. It would have been covered.
People of color have been killed for something much simpler.
We wouldn't have had the audacity to
we wouldn't
do
do
something
that.
like that.
But I'm
I'm
saying,
just
we've
using
been
that
killed
as a
for
scenario.
selling cigarettes.
Okay.
I mean, so
Okay, he got
we've been killed for
that.
simpler things, definitely. So and then, like you say, I don't have time to do stuff like that. I was thinking about something somebody did, and I was like, I ain't have time to do that kind of stuff. My mindset doesn't even go there.
Exactly.
So
but let me invite the audience. I know this is a very hot topic, and this is why I tell you all the time. This is a safe place where you can talk about those difficult conversations. Now, if you would like to be a part of this conversation, call us up at 850-432-7768. You can call or text because I want your opinion as well. And believe me, don't be afraid to speak out. You've got that freedom to speak.
And I want us to go back to America where we can agree to disagree. It's okay.
It's okay to disagree.
It's okay to disagree.
Okay.
So I encourage even callers who don't agree or who don't like the verdict to definitely call in and express themselves. Because we have to get back to a point where we can have a conversation and you could be on one end and I could be on the other, but we're okay.
That's right.
That's how we promote community healing. Yeah. That's how, as an educator, what I always teach, whether it was in grade school, whether it's in university or just public, it's always important to, in that ability to disagree, if we come back the next day and tomorrow and we're able to, yesterday was yesterday, and move forward.
Exactly.
But what a lot of people have to realize too, that we can focus on the national, but all politics are local. If we do not if both candidates are such disdain to everybody that no one wants to go participate in the election, because when you look at the voter registration number, it's only about 35% of eligible voters who are actually registered on average. But then when you look at the registered, say, black voters, only 10% of registered black voters participated in the last election.
That's the problem right there.
The voter participation, and then also if we had 100% voters who are eligible to vote participating while they're registered, that changes the dynamic.
Exactly.
You have 65% of people not voting, to the point that we have local candidates. Those are the ones who affect your day-to-day. Your policies being made state, your policies being made in the city, and that way you're able to change.
And it comes to the problem of you have a minority deciding what the majority does. That's the problem. And so now you have this majority of people who are miserable, and you're just staying in this terrible cycle.
You get the cycle.
So you have these few people
Mm-hmm.
who have these extreme beliefs deciding what everybody does. And so that's the problem.
But you know what also gets me? See, when I hear this, and I want to stress this also strongly, if you're out, I've done quite a few voter registration drives to try to encourage people to get registered to vote. And when you register, go ahead and exercise your right to vote, because that is the way you can speak the loudest. But I want to say this: I don't ever want to hear, especially in our community again, oh, my vote's not going to matter. It's not going to make any difference anyway. That's why we're talking about with the statistics that you're talking about, with the numbers, low participation, that we've got to accept what somebody else say that we must do. So we've got to convince everybody. Please exercise your right.
But I just want to keep in mind that we're all adults. And as an adult, there are times when I win and there are times when I lose. But I still got to keep adulting. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And so, people can't get mad or disappointed because the things that they want didn't happen. You have to keep going, and you have to do what adults do, which is wake up and try again another day. Because when I'm talking to someone, I tell everyone, nothing has ever been changed in this country, whether it was good or bad, unless it was through the political system.
You got to go through.
And you have to put in
slavery.
the work.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying you have to put in the work. If you got to the destination without having journey, there's no point in the work.
I love that.
You have to go through the journey to get your experiences, your failures, to build your success.
Absolutely. Now I want to reiterate this again, because so often I get so many calls and text message or inboxes after the show. Oh, that was good, but here's your opportunity to be a part of the conversation. Where it's not, you don't have to tell me your name. I'll know your voice, but you don't have to tell me your name. But I'm saying just be a part of it. This could answer some questions, some things that may be holding you back. I love the fact that the openness that we're sharing today, and I'm so grateful that the verdict came in yesterday, because I was going to go a different direction. But that made this even more possible, so that we can speak openly and be honest. Right here today. Join in on Sunshine's Corner. And I tell you, Kathina, what you were saying about the being grown, you got to be grown no matter which way it goes. And I tell you what, I love the fact that you've got your numbers together, your statistics, everything. It's not just what somebody said. You've got this to prove this, right? And how do you, when you are, and I know I've been reading up on you, even since when I first met you when you were running for mayor here in Pensacola.
Yes, ma'am.
That's when I met you first, and I was impressed, because I came out to hear you that you all had the debate. I was there at the little theater, I think it was right over there. And you impressed the heck out of me then. And but I want to commend you for the fight that you're doing, that you are continuing that fight, because we got to have somebody that's going to take that torch, not be afraid to use it. And I commend you for that, for what you do.
Well, for me, it's really to participate in politics, to put your name in hat, to run for political office is the biggest form of protest to the government, in my opinion, you can have.
Okay.
It's so much of a protest that you want to go change the laws and policies that affect everyone.
Exactly.
By introducing bills and legislation, or being able to execute certain executive order. Like, there are things and tools that can be done to benefit the people, that if we use them properly, we can have viable community.
But of course, I agree. I agree.
I'm a humanity mediator, and the last 2 years I was in New Jersey. I moved back in August, and I authored a statewide initiative, the Community Peacemaker Collaborative, where it focuses on trauma-informed care, restorative justice techniques, and being able to meet people where they are, having those safe spaces. So in doing that, the idea is, even if I'm meeting with white supremacists, the form of humanity mediation where, like Nicole was saying, being able to agree to disagree. If this person despises my humanity, but we have the conversation, and for instance, a caller that does not agree with certain perspectives I have, if we share our pool of thought, like if we start that, do you want your child to go to school and be safe? If they, because we can't have our kid walk from the house to the corner and feel like they're going to get there safely. We have to go with them this day and age.
Right.
If you want your child to be able to walk to school, so do I. I remember those days. So if we can build safety for everyone, your family, if you don't have kids, just yourself, if you want that safety, you know, Pensacola is ranked 4th safest city proper in the nation. So if we want that safe travel ability, you know, we want to walk outside the city, in the county, we have to be able to understand the elements of why people don't like each other. And if it's hard to discuss about that topic, all right, let's cool these temperatures down, come back tomorrow. And the elements of mediation, of that healing process, and also understanding the traumas I've been through, that those are healing practices that if you understand who I am, you might not hate me so much.
Exactly. So hold on, I tell you, hold your thought. We're going to go to commercial break, because I want to come back. He said something I want to even address, and I know what you're going to say. We're going to come right back to you. But listen, you're inside the hottest spot there is in Pensacola. We're talking about Sunshine's Corner, where we talk about the things that's difficult, and you can know that it's safe right here. Stay with us. We've got more coming up with Jonathan and Kathina on Sunshine's Corner.
Empire Truck Sales, located at 2255 West Detroit Boulevard in Pensacola, is your Freightliner, Western Star, Detroit Diesel, and Cummins dealer for Northwest Florida. Open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., Saturdays and Sundays, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., providing sales, service, and parts. Empire Truck Sales is also your Oasis dealer for Freightliner custom chassis RV and motorhome repairs. Running I-10 will get you in.
Many who consider facial plastic surgery are concerned their results will look unnatural. But with over 20 years of serving the Pensacola community, his thousands of satisfied patients have made Dr. Derek Jones a trusted reconstructive and facial plastic surgeon known for industry-leading results that look natural. Call 850-484-FACE to schedule a consultation at one of our locations in Pensacola and Gulf Breeze.
I'm Dr. Derek Jones. Trust your face to a facial plastic surgeon.
Animal Allies is looking for volunteers, and there are many ways that you can help. From taking care of cats to using your computer and social media skills, any and all assistance is greatly appreciated. We have morning and afternoon shifts every day or help at adoption events. You could even foster a kitty at home. And it counts towards community service hours for bright futures. Find Animal Allies Florida on Facebook and Instagram, or go to aaflorida.org/volunteer.
Taking a sip, but that's okay. You see, the conversation never ends right here, okay? And I said, we were talking about the fact that why is it and how do we deal with the fact that a person don't like me and you don't know me? How, you were saying something, I want you to share that with the audience, because I think that's powerful.
Well, I know Kathina was leaving a point that I wanted to throw it to you real quick.
No, I was just going to talk about that movie that I saw on Netflix where they were trying to change the school system in Durham, and they required to vote, and it was a black woman, and she had to work with a guy who was a part of the Klan's plan, and how she was helping him with his autistic child because he didn't know how to deal with the child. And once they found that common ground, he realized, he questioned himself, why do I believe this? I think most people have to question themselves, why do I believe that? What is that rooted in for real? And most of the time they'll find it's rooted in foolishness. It's rooted in, of course. Yeah, you know, and so, you know, I was just saying that I just thought that was an excellent point, even in, and we've heard so many stories across the South about how Klansmen have had to change their mind when they actually interact with someone with a different color because they realize it's more in common than we have in differences, and so that's just was my point. But thank you.
And I appreciate that because that really goes into the miseducation of people, and I think that goes into the question you were asking me. So I know there was it was a study where they flashed an image before a diverse group of people, and the images were up there for less than half a second. It was but they flashed, and depending on what race popped up, they had different, probes attached to the people. The triggers in the brain and what sense when they would see a black person or a lighter complected person of hue versus someone in a hood that may be white versus someone in a hood that the images of the implicit bias spikes where hate develops in the brain, where love, joy, the different spikes that they could tell what the brain saw just in that quick flash show implicit bias, and that before you could process what you saw, you're already on to the next 3-4 images, and each one your brain just processing, and it's the condition of white supremacy. And that's the one thing just in my work, like, people are always afraid of hearing all power to all people, but you have to realize that's not a bad thing. So if we're eradicating white supremacy, that doesn't mean eradicate white power. Now that's confusing to people because, like, wait, as a person of color, what do you mean don't eradicate white power? Well, understand the difference between white supremacy. If you tell someone white supremacy means you're reigning supreme over someone that you consider inferior. But if we have true equality,
absolutely.
If you have white power already established and you're building power of black individuals, power of Hispanic, power of all people, LGBTQ, every person, gender, if you build power in gender biases where they don't exist, everyone having power creates equity, which means people have a better quality of life.
There you go.
But if you're focused on supremacy and inequity,
totally opposite.
We have what we have.
I want to add too, though, that and sometimes people find that difficult when we're in certain spaces, but racism or prejudice, I'm thinking out loud, but I'm saying, like, black women have prejudice against black women. You understand?
Oh my God, don't go there. Oh
black
God,
men have prejudice against black women. You understand? Black women have prejudice against black men. You understand?
Willie Lynch mentality.
Yeah, and so
that's right.
Two things I think is, what are you consuming media-wise? That feeds into it. What images you see all the time. And number two, it's always about questioning yourself. Like, I'm an inside thinker. I always think about anything go wrong, anything I'm questioning, anytime I'm in a certain feeling. The first person I reflect on is myself. And I remember I moved into an apartment complex, and there was some Latinos around, and I was just scared. And I remember saying, well, why are you scared? They haven't done anything to you. And I realized I was prejudiced against Latinos for no reason. And I had to question myself, like, they ain't did nothing to you. What's your problem?
So that's what I practice in humanity mediation. I teach people what you're actually afraid of if you practice hate is the fear of the unknown.
Yep, exactly.
Because you don't know, you've created a scenario in your head that if your purse clutches, if you cross the street, if you create this opinion of me that you haven't learned who I am, you don't know my passions and what motivates me, you have to understand. And the 3 degrees I have, they're what they are. Criminal justice, 2 degrees in criminal justice, my law degree. Studying, so understand, the 13th Amendment says slavery is abolished except for punishment for crime. Well, if slavery is abolished, except for punishment for crime, what's punishment for crime? There's an exception to
There's
slavery.
an exception. There it is.
Jail, prison, probation, parole are slavery. So the United States has 5% of the world's human population at about 325 million people out of the 8 billion people in the world. We have 25% of the world prison population.
Yes, that's it.
If we have 25% of the prison population, that's 25% of the world's slaves population that's legally allowed.
But you got to go deeper to those numbers real quick and say,
I love it.
I'm sorry, you got to go a little deeper. If you're saying, I don't know the percentages, but let's just say you're saying 2% of that 5% is black, and of that 25%, 20% is black.
It's higher than
It's higher than that.
It's like 80%
but I'm just
of
gonna
the
say,
25%
but when you want to
is
say,
black and brown.
well, the police don't do this, or we look at the data, look at the statistics. If we're not the majority of the population, but we're the majority of the population that's incarcerated, then you can't deny that. Tell me what that is.
That's the reason the American Revolution was fought, because there was taxation with no representation.
There you go.
And then, so that's what they do on the census. All the prisons are placed in rural areas.
Yes.
They count the prisoners in the census, and then those individuals get more representation in the House of Representatives based on how the new maps are drawn.
Absolutely.
That's what your gerrymandering goes in.
Gerrymandering, red
There you
line.
go, all of that. I mean, but if you look at the data, if you don't want to discuss racism, if you don't want to believe in racism, let's just go down to the pure facts of it.
Exactly.
And then explain
This
to
is the
me
conversation
how the
I think we should have
population-
more and more of, because I believe if you can talk about it, maybe you will see that there's no reason for you not, like you said with the Latinos, that you don't know me.
Yeah.
But see, the thing is, whether it's the white community, black community, Latinx, Asian, anyone, this is what the unification of Malcolm X and Dr. King would have brought, was teaching everyone there's an economic disparity.
He did that.
It is not. It does. The racial disparity comes down because that's the most obvious. We can point that out because, you have hue, we can exert white supremacy.
Right.
If you take that out and just look at the fact of what oppresses us, we have inflation, wages haven't increased to keep up with the cost of goods.
Yes,
the cost of
living is up here, and your wages down here.
If you look at the conditions, there's no such thing as affordable housing. There's affordable housing with government subsidies for people to get 0% taxes, and that's what the Donald Trump Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017 did. They got 0% taxes for developing. If you look up in any county commission's office on their website, look at opportunity zones. Just Google it, and it will identify it's pretty much Lumen Mays District.
That's District 3. Predominantly black.
Because it has the majority of what they call blight, the impoverished areas, that if you develop those areas with non-detrimental business, this is line item federal wording, and the detrimental business is listed like liquor stores, tanning salons. If you build a beneficial business to the community, not a detrimental one, you get 0 taxes as a developer. So they don't have programs to train apprenticeships here or anywhere where the people who don't get the public-private contracts, because they always say keep government out our pockets, but they want a public-private partnership so that way I can get the government money to do the work that we don't want the government to do.
But let's go to whose money is the government money. Every black person who goes and buys those $100 pair of sneakers, who goes into that convenience store, who goes to that liquor store all day, who is expected to make that $1 trillion spending budget. All those generate tax revenue off of money that is given to people who don't look like us, or who don't represent us, or we don't benefit from.
Thank you.
And
it's a vicious cycle.
The importance of that is group economics. When you look at the statistics, it says the black dollar stays in the community no more than about 3 days. In the white community, it stays in about 27 or 28 days. In the Asian community, it stays in the Asian community about 33 days. Well, if there's 31 days in a month max,
come on,
and you are able to keep it in your community the entire month and then some, there's no point in time you have to go outside your community, and your group economics works. So then when you lobby for something in your community, whether it's against the mayor, the council, the state, you have a better economic power to not be in somebody's pocket.
But I do primarily blame us for that. In our community, because I will tell you,
and I know where you about to say.
They do not spend money. I have people who come and ask me for jobs. I have people come and ask me for sponsorships. Ain't never even been in my bookstore. They asking me to donate. Ain't never even bought a book. Ain't never bought a cup of coffee. Ain't never nothing. But you want me to give
We don't understand civics and economics and how they work.
I blame us.
But how do you blame 400 years of not being educated to read?
It's intention.
It's generational trauma is real.
I don't disagree with you. I promise you I don't.
It's embedded in our DNA that if 400 years of slavery said you can't read,
understand that mindset.
But hold on. But understand the mindset of the people who don't. They don't even know they indoctrinated.
But I get that. But at the same time, right, Jonathan, I don't. I'm just talking about spending money. Because on a higher level, I totally agree with you.
If you don't know this.
You do know. You go and bring coffee from somewhere else to where you sit and I sell coffee.
But hold on.
You're absolutely correct. I don't disagree with you at all.
Wait a minute. You're a black woman organization and you go to a non-black.
Kathina?
That does not promote group economics. And that is everything against what we need.
Right.
You are right.
Now, let me tell you something else. Now, see, what I want to point out right there, you see how we were talking, but we were talking over each other? We weren't talking we were not into the car. We were talking over each other.
I heard him.
So therefore, no, you might have heard him, but yet still you want your point made. So therefore, we've got to be able to talk and listen.
This is also important for people to see because this is the passion black people just have talking. We ain't upset with
no, I love her with a perfect kind of love.
Yeah.
This man, but the point that's being made is if we can just, and I hear what you're saying. I speak this all the time as far as how people go out and buy these Nikes $400 or $500.
Yeah.
Okay, you go out and buy this, and I think my little truck that's $20 or whatever gonna be just in what they call them. What the young people call them when you don't have a name brand.
Just
wait a minute, no, they call
any bootleg Bobo.
No, not just Bobo. That's it. You got them Bobo shoes.
I heard that one in a long time.
That's it. That's them Bobo shoes. But
no, because Kathina's absolutely correct.
Right.
Because we do not support each other in a way that we always want some type of discount, some hook or whatever. But it's not like if you understood how economics work. And that's what I teach in my business. I don't want to hire employees. I teach people how to create LLCs. Why? Because if you have an LLC and I can contract with you, you make more than whatever minimum wage is an hour. I can contract with you at contract prices.
Exactly.
So my goal is how many contracts an hour can I get, not how many people I can. Now, if you want to come work for me and I pay your hourly wage, that's cool. But then I have to do certain taxes for employees, pay benefits. You making more work for me. If I can show you how to build your own business as well as you now know how to teach your kids and your kids, that's the goal of group economics to me. I don't need you to come work for me. I need you to take your ideas and make this world better.
Okay. But I want to add to you too, though. As I'm getting older, I understand everybody can't be in that too. Okay. Because you can get older and not get mature.
No, baby, no, you missed the whole. No. You missed the whole point of that one. Okay, you missed the whole point on that one.
Applying it to you.
Exactly. Thank you.
I know some old unmature people.
No, I don't mean that. See that. I'll explain to you what I mean by mature.
I know what you mean.
Got me now. Okay.
Jonathan said it. You was
gotcha.
But I want to say that but as people that everybody can't be entrepreneurs. So I think like if we could teach some premises of budgeting, discipline. I tell people all the time the difference between me and Oprah Winfrey, the only difference is discipline. She probably is a heck of a lot more disciplined than I am in a lot of areas of her life. And so I say that, but I just want to say like because what grinds my gears is you have
grind them gears.
Black-led organizations who are talking about group economics, and then you have Black-owned event centers, and they go do their banquets at a non-Black-owned event center. Sure, it might. I will be the first to say I've been an entrepreneur 20 years. It's hard to do business with us. It's not. It could be a lot easier to go to some other places, but I think it's worth it. I am very intentional, and I always think it's worth it. Sure, we don't call back. I'm going to say we, because I could be guilty of it. You know? We don't call back. We don't this. Another phone call. Hey, Jonathan, I've been trying to get you, but I couldn't. It's because I don't have the capital. I don't have access to the money to hire the people or to do the infrastructure to call you immediately, right? There is, and that's where that systemic stuff can take place.
Right.
And so I'm just saying that's why I say it has to be intentional, and it has to start with these groups that say that's what they're doing. It don't make no sense to me.
I agree, and even with the aspect, because like you're right, everyone can't be an entrepreneur, but for instance, like what I was saying with the there's no entrepreneur, there's no apprenticeship programs. If we have contracts going out that our city and county are giving out, or state, feds, that
our tax dollars are supporting.
yes, that you have,
like
and
that.
you have a general contractor hiring an electrician, but you don't have an electrician apprentice program. So now we can have black electricians in our community. The thing, and then those black electricians get contracts too, so they can feed their family. Then you start learning. The apprenticeship program shows you how to be that business owner and that master in your field. That even if you're in a trade and working as and coming up, you don't have the opportunity or the exposure to even know how business operates. So they like a lot of our community, we don't understand how economics and politics works hand in hand.
Now that's the problem.
That's a great big problem in our community.
But if I don't know how my vote affects how you are taxed, so I don't come support you, so that way when you get your profits, you're taxed less. If I don't know how that works hand in hand, me going to Starbucks when it's right here on every corner, like that's some people's mindset.
Yeah, I get
Exactly.
it. I get
Now,
it.
what do you think about this though? And I hear the conversation. I mean, you all are passionate. I just love this passion. Okay, but I tell you what, we're gonna have to run out, take a break real quick.
Okay.
But we're gonna come back and it's a question I want to ask.
Okay.
And I want you to think about it before you answer it.
Okay.
We'll be back, and I tell you, it's still not too late because I've gotten a text message on my phone. Don't text me on my phone. I can't talk to you there. Now you can call or text at 850-432-7768. I just can't answer my watch. If you want to be a part of it, 850-432-7768.
Text them that.
Text them back.
Text them and say that.
You're enjoying this Friday morning with nothing but information. And I mean, I think this is really creating power for some things, but people may not know of how you can go out and get your LLC. Easy. I just found that out myself. Sunshine's Corner, we'll be right back with more. Need a new outfit for a special occasion? Look no further than Viola's Men's Apparel. Viola's has been providing the latest styles and accessories in Pensacola for over 20 years now. We have clothes for every occasion, and we offer consultations and group discounts. You can trust that our care, quality, and class will be unmatched. Viola's Men's Apparel, for all of your menwear needs.
Watch a new episode of Crime Stoppers Wanted Fugitives every Friday at 6 p.m., hosted by Sergeant Melanie Peterson and David Craig. Your tips may be eligible for a cash reward, featuring items about officer training, various aspects of police work, and crime prevention information. You'll hear about upcoming family-friendly engagement events as well. Don't miss Crime Stoppers Wanted Fugitives every Friday at 6 p.m.
You got it, right? Wow. We're having such a conversation today, but we're going to go straight to the phones, okay?
Right on.
Because we got somebody, obviously they want to get in on this conversation. Let's see what we're going to talk about this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing fine. And your question, sir?
Yes, ma'am. I got a question for Nicole and you. My question is, Nicole,
Sir.
when you saying that the black business, right, is doing good, don't come by your book. But at the same time, I would like to question, though, why is it a lot of the African American business, they got the business, they don't advertise? Because I know it's on Sonshine corner. She seemed to have one African American business sponsoring her show, and she got a great show. So how can we get them to support what African America doing, like Sonshine doing, and Nicole like you doing? I'm a DJ myself on Sunday morning. Y'all know who I am.
Yes.
And it's all about to advertise your business, but it's hard to get African Americans to help talk about their business. I don't know what we can do because it's so small amount.
I appreciate
But
your.
then when you, like you said, but when they put on something, they want to come to you to do.
Yeah.
But they won't support your business.
I appreciate.
No, I saw your face. Give him a chance now, Kathina.
No.
Okay.
I'm saying I don't gotta.
Right.
I appreciate his question.
hold on.
That's-
Y'all know who I
Because I know who you are, Eddie. I told you I recognize your voice. I may not know you. I get a voice now. But thank you for your question. Now, we're going to address these points that you brought up today, okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
And thank you. I'll tell you that if you've got questions, you want to be a part of it, hey, feel free. I won't call you out like I did him if you don't want me to. 850-432-7768. That's the number you can call or text and get your questions in. Now, you were about to say something, Kathina. Thank you, Eddie.
So, Mrs. Snell, I really do appreciate your question, and it's a phenomenal question. But it's like we have so many bad, for lack of better words right now, bad cycles. But I just want to say that if particularly not just my business, any business, if more people support your television show, then you could get more advertising, or you could pay for more advertising.
Right.
So the problem is it's this vicious circle, right? And the vicious circle is, number one, if I have any issues, I can't go to the bank. I don't even want to get on bank stuff. I own commercial property. I own a house. It's still hard for me to get money.
Right,
I thought it would just be like this, you know what I'm saying, flat out on it. And it's still hard for me to get the financing, right? Mm-hmm. Then the other issue is the more people come and buy, the more I can support and purchase advertisement. Advertisement isn't cheap, or it costs money, right?
All the time.
And so in order for me to come and advertise on Sonshine Corner, I have to sell more books. I have to sell more coffee. So it's this vicious cycle that is in our community that somebody gonna have to get, as John, I love the word humility. Mm-hmm. Humility is it, right? But it might seem like I'm fussing, but God always take care of me. I keep that God gave me that building. He gave me that bookstore, and it stays open. And it's not because people are buying millions of books. It's because God always take care of me. And so we have to have that. And that's why I give wherever I can. Somebody say they need it, I never heard from or never knew them, I will give it to them, because God is going to always take care of me. I'm going to say that. But I'm just saying that it is a vicious cycle. And so the cycle is more people have to support our businesses so that we can purchase advertisement. Sonshine has been doing in the advertising and marketing business for a very long time.
36 years.
Okay, I didn't know if she wanted to say that.
I'm only 37.
I know. So, well, she was 25 last week. So since she's been in her mama's womb, right? But the point of the matter is, we can't get into stuff, in my opinion, and I think Sunshine, you got some too. We can't get stuck into the antics of it, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm telling you that, yes, it is hard to do business with people of color because they don't have the systems and the processes and the things of that nature, right? But at the same time, to me, it's worth it. I'm going to call you a couple of times. I'm going to try, and I even tell people now, like, listen, I might not answer the phone. Just tell me what you want, and I'm going to say yes or no. And I'm gonna make sure you get it. You don't have to do me no spill. It's just humility, and it's just knowing that everybody is doing the best that they can. But we just have to be intentional about supporting our businesses in our community. Because at the end of the day, I was the person who watched my grandparents hire a crackhead. My grandmother employed, when we worked at the store that my grandparents owned, it was a guy who did drugs. He was on drugs. I don't want to call him a crackhead. He was addicted to drugs. Sorry, that was a negative connotation. I didn't mean to say that. Forgive me. But he was a person who was addicted to drugs. Mm-hmm. And I was 13, 14. So if it was summer 20 years ago, I might be at the store working. Well, I couldn't touch the beer. Right. So he would sit around with us all day, and my grandma would give him a few dollars, and he would take the beer out the refrigerator and pass it to the customer, and we rung it up. Mm-hmm. So I've seen people in our community hire people that nobody else will hire. That's the vision I have. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I've seen people give people a chance. I pretty much would give anybody a chance. If I could find a way to fit you in and I could give you a chance, I'm pretty much gonna give it to you with no expectation, knowing that you're out here trying and doing the best that you can. And I hope that if you're in my life for a short term or a long term, that I make some type of impact. But I never take it personal. If they don't show up, I don't take it personal. If they don't do what they say they're gonna do, I don't take it personal, because honestly, at some point in my life, I probably was that person, right?
Right.
Yep.
At some point in my life, I don't forget that piece. But the point of the matter is, I'm just going to try, and I'm going to do it from my heart. And if you do something from your heart, guess what? You don't have no expectations. You just do it.
But back to what I think,
Yep.
I hear what you said, but the compassion, of course. And to answer Eddie's question, as far as it's got to be support.
Yeah.
Everybody has to be able to support each other and do it from the point of, you know that if I give more to you, then I'll be able to do more over here.
I want to say this too. If you see Sunshine's Corner on Facebook, share it. The more you share it, maybe you can't advertise on here, but the more you share it and the more impact that other people who do have the money can see, then she can get the money. It don't have to come from the black community.
That's right.
You know
And
what I'm
that's
saying?
free advertising. They hitting share, and then they get to somebody who has the capacity.
They do have the budget.
this shit.
So maybe they do have the budget.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So they're going to say, oh, well, 100 people shared this. I got $1 million budget. Let me invest. It don't have to come from the black community.
Right.
Support does not. It does not. I don't need.
And the most what I get on there is, how can I be on your show?
Yeah.
How can I be on your show? Help.
And I would also like to add, just you mentioned the vicious cycle of just the entrepreneurship, just building business. Part of that too is a lot of majority companies, they spend like half of their budget on marketing.
Yep.
So if you spend half of your budget on marketing, what are you planning on getting in revenue?
There
That
you
if
go.
you put that much out, what are you planning on your return, your ROI, your return on investment?
Of course. Come on with it, baby.
So, but in that regard, that if we're in spaces that if we're not educating each other on
That's right.
business terms, so that way you know how this works, even if you're not participating as an entrepreneur, you need to know how to be a good consumer.
Amen.
Exactly.
Exactly.
But if we're not having these
And intentional.
conversations,
That's
we
right.
have the intent
Yeah.
to
Consume.
do business.
That's right.
Where we
Support.
consume
Yeah.
Exactly.
the products that we consume.
And I want to say to Eddie, I keep hearing him in my head, but Eddie, maybe even the fact what you're asking of Kathina and you ask of myself, and you're even talking to Jonathan what we're talking about, then maybe these businesses, okay, if they don't want to support you, don't give it to them. You understand what I'm saying?
I don't have no problem giving it to them.
No, excuse me, though. Let me have a history. Let me make my point now.
Okay.
Now, you saying that we got to get your business out in the community so somebody can support you, so you be able to support somebody else. Because sometimes the giving cycle don't know how to stop. And there has to be a point in it, because there is a bottom line. I don't care how much I want to give. Now, I'll give you the shirt off my back, but the one day I got to have that shirt to cover me. But now I give and I give and I give, but there has to be a drawn line. So if we're going to educate on how to support, sure, there is, and now like you said also, Jonathan, I go back to this, with the budget that you may have set for your, whatever the amount is that you have set for your advertising, whatever the amount that you have set that you're going to do in kind, whatever that may be, then, but there has to be a level where you got to say, okay, I just can't go over this budget of in kind all the time, if you understand where I'm going. So therefore, I agree with you that you give, but what's the point that you're going to give back, and with those dollars that's going to make this business even grow more? You said to me that your business is open all the time, but the revenues that you're getting, there's not enough to compensate what you need for that business that you've been blessed with.
Yeah.
So the cycle has to stop somewhere, that we're going to be able to support what businesses we of people of color have in the community. Go ahead, Jonathan been wanting to say something for a
No,
minute.
I was going to say, just historically, I think that's what made the black community so unique, and why Black Wall Streets that existed throughout the United States were so important for our economic development.
Right.
So I think that boundary you speak of, that line being drawn, is if we're going to develop our individual wealth, we have to be willing to go to the black bookstore and cafe.
Yes.
And we have to say, if you like Star, don't go. Like, support this business. Watch Sunshine's Corner. Do the things that we keep talking about, and you say, yeah, that sounds good. Don't make it sound good. Let it be good.
Let it be good. I agree. Do it.
But I go back to, you have black-led organizations that's talking economics that do not make the group participate in these things, right? So it's all this mental, it's this mental, when you're in the South, it took me a long time to really understand what being in the South meant.
But it happens not only in the South, it happens everywhere.
But I'm saying in the South, it is more prominent. It is, you can look at the stick.
There you go.
Yep. So it's very overt. And so, you know, again, and that's where, like, I don't disagree with I understand what slavery has done to us, but people of color, or immigration, or any of those things, not just black people, right? I understand what they have done to us, but again, and when I was referred to give, and I was just saying that in my mind, that I don't necessarily have to give, and that same person has to give it back. But I do.
Okay,
I do have to. I'm not saying that. But that's what I'm saying. Like, just because I give Jonathan a book, I don't expect Jonathan to come back and support me. That's what I was saying about my expectations, because it's gonna come from somewhere else.
You have to have that holistically in yourself to want to do, because it creates like a barter system in your trade network. Yeah,
but I also understand that some people just don't have it, or some people just don't have that mindset. But then I don't look to them.
Or some people have it and they still don't support it. But that's what we're going to get to. How are we going to get that person?
I can't worry about them.
Yeah, that's a different class.
Exactly.
I can't worry about them.
The ones who, I think what Kathina's speaking on, like, those can be the people who learn how, those people that we're trying to educate, the support that, whether they become business owners, entrepreneurs, whether they're just good community members that know how to help build economics. That's why we have a $3 trillion spending habit, but we have
I have those numbers too. That blew my mind.
It stays in our community 3 days. Like, that's important. If beyond that, you're going to buy everywhere else.
Exactly. If you want to be a part of this conversation, feel free, because I tell you, this hour goes by so fast when it's like this. Oh my goodness! But we're not done just yet. So I want to go back to this. 850-432-7768. You can call or text. Now I can't remember that question that was on the iPad, but I
know it dealt with I know my answer dealt with it, but it was with Biden's executive order powers.
Yes.
As it relates to what was it? The Supreme Court limits.
To introduce a term limit.
Term limits for Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court.
Yep.
Donald Trump running for office.
And he's a convicted felon.
Yeah, okay.
So essentially, the short answer is it's constitutional. The Constitution, so the term limit aspect, the reason is no president's going to, because the modern trend is not change it that way, they're going to if term limits are introduced, they're going to let it be legislated. So Congress will write that. If it's an executive order, that goes against all the 45 presidents before him. And then the convicted felon aspect have to be 35 years old and
it goes back to constitutional. It's not the Constitution. It's not a law.
Yeah,
it's plain and simple.
The Constitution is for the executive branch is just 35 years of age and U.S. resident citizen living as a resident the last 14 years.
And I think that's also saying, seems like, with that person who asked that question, when you're saying you need to be educated in that area, so that question like that can be more understandable, they'll understand more.
Yeah.
And education, and I say this every day on this show, that knowledge is power. And we have to learn to be more intentional about being educated politically.
But can I say this too? That I have no, I did have some interest, but anyway, but I'm not. I'm not a lawyer, right? But I have a friend who is.
Okay, there you go.
I want to say that it's okay to not know what it is, and I hate that everybody want to know everything, right? I just really try my best to stay in my lane and then call on the people who can give me some direction and some basic knowledge. Jonathan, do not read no laws to me when I call you. Just tell me what I need to do, okay? And let me trust you.
And he's very knowledgeable.
So I think trust has to be the thing too, right? Because I hate people call me saying, how do you write grants? I can't explain that to you.
It's a thing that if you go through it, you go through it.
Right.
You know, but if you want me to help you, or if you know, or you want to pay, or some of those things, I can't explain to you how to be a TV host. Sometimes I just can't say, oh, well, this is what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? Just come on a TV show. Or everybody don't need a TV show. Everybody don't need the same thing. Like, why we can't just, like, trust the people that are doing the things and who are doing it very well. Because we don't have to know and do everything. Right. I'm not going to start a TV show. I'm just going to come on Sonshine. If she
This is my sidekick every Friday anyway, man.
But I'm just saying that we do got to, and I'm not going to go and try to, if it interests me, I'm at that point in life. But also I just want to say, like, we just got to start trusting each other in the expertise and the roles that they're in. And if I got to pay you, I should be ready to pay you.
But I think that exactly goes into what community is. If you look at the idea, like, I think people only think things can be either or, black or white.
Lord.
And there's a lot of that. If we look at, there's not just two classes of people in a sense of, if you're a person that just looks at the trees and can't see the forest, you look at every minute issue that you don't see the bigger picture, or if you're just the person that sees the bigger picture, but you don't know how to deal with the individual people. The thing is, we need that third class of people, and I think that's the element of humanity we've lost, that if we had that connection to understand, I can see the individual trees and how they make the forest.
Right. We got 3 minutes, guys. Can you believe that? This time it's going by. No, but I just love this. I can sit and listen to you all day. I mean, because I love the fact that you're so knowledgeable, and he's so young.
He's very intelligent.
I mean, you're so intelligent, and this is something that you have studied. You study to find out so that you can, when you get the opportunity, you're going to project what's not you think, but you got facts.
Right on.
And I love that about you. And you see, you'll be back because we got to finish this conversation.
Right on.
Because this hour, he just went by too fast. And my sidekick, she's going to be right here with me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but the fact of it is, ladies and gentlemen, this conversation today, all I can say, it wasn't going to go this way, but something happened to turn it this way. I'm so happy I had you for today. And I really, really appreciate that. But continue doing what you're doing. Like I told him off camera, I see him running for president one day. I mean, and don't lose that. Don't lose that. I really see that. I don't know why. You know, I'm going to be honest. When I look at you, I think of somebody else that was president. You remind me of him in so many ways. With your knowledge, I mean, the way that you speak.
I appreciate it.
And I see that in him. And I just feel that. And I don't say that, you know, holding back anything. I want you to continue doing what you're doing, because we got to make sure that there are the younger generation that's going to take this thing and really do it intentionally.
Right on.
So that we can get where we need to be. And Kathina, with you and your business and what you're doing, be as intentional as you are, but just set those standards high. And look, people, she's there. What's that address?
3497.
3497 MLK Drive.
Yeah.
It's right there on the corner. Go and support her. Support her. If you want to support Sunshine's Corner, reach out to me. I'll take it.
What does support look like for you?
That's right. Come on. Look, you want to be a part of this show. Support this. Sponsor this show.
Sponsor with money.
Sponsor with money. I give a lot, but sponsor with money. That's going to make it grow even bigger. I got 30 seconds. And listen at this, everybody. I got to get out of here. It's been a fantastic Friday. But let me leave you as I do every single day, and I mean this from my big old heart. Never, ever lose your focus. Always remember, in whatever you do, as Kathina would say, you got to keep God first. Seek Him first, and He's going to direct you. So until Monday morning, where we're going to do it all over again. Knowledge and power, knowledge and power, knowledge and power. Educate yourself. Whew. Know that I love you, my dear friends, with a perfect kind of love. Tell somebody you love them. Until then, keep shining while I'm gone. Have a great weekend.
Sunshine's Corner, brought to you by Pensacola Parks and Recreation.